Hello and welcome to The Studio Demands It, an exercise in creative thinking where we will conceptualize, pitch, and craft a film or series based on the demands from one of you listeners acting as a hypothetical Hollywood overlord.
Overlord!
As professional screenwriters ourselves and massive cinephiles, we talk movies all the time.
All the time.
And we'd like to believe that we could meet any demand thrown at us. We will be your screenwriters for this episode. I am TC DeWitt, and joining me, as always, is Jim the Repeater Brzelek.
Brzelek!
Now, you would think you're named the Repeater because you're just parodying things that I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I dubbed you the Repeater because I did something for the first time in a long... I think I might have done this in the past, maybe in season 1.
Ulterior motive.
I repeated one of your middle names.
Oh, no.
So we knew that this is actually off of Jim's suggestion here. Conjunction...
I was trying the echo.
Yeah.
Just a little. I was trying to do it like right on the tail of when you were doing it this time. I don't know if that worked or if it was just like interrupting sounding. If that was... It was probably bad. I should probably leave the beat in there, or that half beat before I echo you.
I think it's okay. You like to change it up.
Yeah, I tried different things.
I forced you into doing this. When you go back to the history of the show, I forced you into doing this.
But when I get to this part, then you say this. But you had just said that. Yeah, but then you also say it. But you just said it.
I'll repeat it.
I know, but then it'll sound like
what's your middle name,
like
damn it?
Echo.
Knowing we were going to... So you had suggested... I'm going to get back on track.
No, that's good.
So Mission Impossible is coming out.
Yeah, it is.
And we, in keywording, searching Mission Impossible, we actually didn't have any Mission Impossible demands. So you had suggested Bond, that we look at James Bond, a different super spy series. So I did a keyword search for that. And knowing that we were going to do some Bond demand today, and I have one up here. I have not read it yet. So as always, we will be surprised by the demand. Okay. Put it on the spot, Jim. We got to do it right here now. But I went back and listened to our Spectre episode, just to be sure that we didn't cover ground we'd already covered before. And
because in that regard, technically, we have done James Bond.
Yes. In that episode, I dubbed you, or I read your middle name as Jim Hopscotch Brzelek. The last episode we did was Thunderbolts, and I used Hopscotch again.
Oh, did you?
Now, we riffed completely differently off of it, but when I heard that, I was like, oh, and I have a record of 100 middle names, and I repeated one.
You have them recorded for posterity.
Yeah, so it just surprised me that of all the random things I could have thrown, that was the one I went to. and that it was the next episode we were going to do, James Bond related. So very, very strange here. So that's fun.
It's fun. That is fun.
It's fun. It's fun. So there you go. Repeater. That's
me.
That's the whole thing. Do you want to repeat anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Then we could literally jump into the... Yeah, I think it's curious we didn't have any Mission Impossible demands.
That is weird. That is a little strange.
Yeah, I don't have the number in front of me right now, but
one could say that all of them are Mission Impossibles.
Like every demand we do seems impossible.
Yeah.
But we do it. Actually,
this would be a good time to because we did a commentary.
Yes.
We could drop the thing we came up with right here.
Oh.
One might say that this is a cinema impossible.
God,
we're so proud of that.
We're so proud of it. Well, the thing was...
saying it out loud and being recorded, now I feel stupid.
Oh, no, I think the stupid thing is we did it in unison. I think that's on me. Because you were doing it. I didn't have to jump in there. Well, what's weird is one of us said Cinema Impossible, and we're like, well, that's got to be a podcast or a show or something. It's not.
That is what surprised me.
That was
there's
the most
nothing out in the world
called
called Cinema Impossible.
How is that not a thing? And then we got to wondering, well, what would that show be? And we couldn't think of anything different than what we're already doing.
Yeah.
So if anyone has any suggestions out there for a show titled Cinema Impossible and what that could be, let us know.
That isn't
that
really
exist.
What we're already doing.
Yeah. Don't just reskin the show and say do that.
Yeah.
Because a good enough title like that that could be a cool show. But it's
maybe it just is this show.
Yeah.
It's the you know how movies have different names in other countries.
Oh yes.
That's the name of our podcast in another country.
In Japan, our show's actually
Actually called Cinema Impossible.
My other thought is when Mystery Science Theater ended,
Mm-hmm.
then they started Riff Tracks and Cinematic Titanic are the two like spin-offs of. So maybe when the studio demands it ends, we just start a new series called Cinematic.
Sure.
And it's just the same thing.
Yep.
Or like Top Gear became Grand Tour, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
We have currently in our spreadsheet 348 demands. That's how many demands people have sent to us
that we haven't
done.
We shouldn't refer to it that way.
that we haven't gotten to yet.
That's how behind we are.
Yeah, well, it's amazing but doing a search, we didn't have any Mission Impossible. So you would suggest James Bond, which brings us to today's demand, and it comes from where is it? Okay, oh my gosh,
Drum roll. Drum roll.
You're so good at that. Ah, here you go.
Drum roll.
From Jack Quaid. I wonder if that's intentional.
Okay.
At JDB Studios. Okay. With a new James Bond movie certainly in the works, it's high time for a bold revitalization of the long-running franchise. Tall order. Given the consistent creative constraints imposed by the Broccoli family, Bond must be British, male, not a time traveler or superhero. Is that one of their demands? That's the one?
Makes sense.
Not a time traveler or superhero, and absolutely no origin story reboots, etc. Your mission, if we choose to accept it,
Mission
franchise, is do a crossover. No. Your mission is to pitch the next James Bond film. Stick to the established rules of the franchise, but bring some fresh, surprising, and thrilling.
It's making sense.
Bring something fresh, surprising, and thrilling that proves 007 still has a license to dominate the box office. It should have been kill at the box office. Not to edit your work here, Jack, but the license to kill at the box office. Okay, I mean that's pretty simple. As far as demands go, that's the restraints are the literal studio saying this is what you can and cannot do with James Bond. So thank you, Jack, for that. Jack Quaid. Oh. Funny enough,
it's just Jack Quaid.
I joked here. It's just Jack Quaid. Thanks, Jack. A Bond Mission Impossible crossover. You had pointed out that James Bond isn't a spy. You said he's an operator.
Well, there are different types of spies, right?
Yeah.
There's the kind of spies that embed in the foreign land or hostile territory or whatever as a local, and right they're the ones that were historians or weirdly a lot of historians, a lot of history teachers were spies in World War II.
Very John le Carre, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy kind of stuff.
That's what actual traditional spies are.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a type of spy called the operator, which is more of what James Bond is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the type. It's that type of spy.
Very, very like here I am. I'm not hiding behind masks and subterfuge.
Kind of,
I'm just James Bond.
Yeah.
I'm.
That gave. Just talking about this gave me an idea for another movie. It wouldn't require a new James Bond.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it might even work better looking at a previous James Bond. Craig, we'll do Daniel Craig because he was the latest one.
Mm-hmm.
Do a movie. So I think I read this on the internet somewhere. The notion that because James Bond is so out in the open, he shows up, says his name, and is just very clearly who he is.
Right.
That he is actually a distraction for real spies. So he goes in, dances with the villain's wife, shoots up a bunch of minions, runs around over here, blows things up. Meanwhile, there's a bunch of other spies doing stuff, and that would be the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So you see the back of James Bond just leave as our characters then enter the lab, and Q then tells them, okay, your mission is going to be to do this. While he's in there doing all these things, you're going to sneak through and take this and that or plant this and that.
Yeah, the actual spycraft.
That would be kind of an amazing movie.
If not a movie, like a series, like every episode.
Sure, yeah.
Very Leverage or NCIS or CSI, kind of like procedural.
Yeah.
Like, Bond's out there doing his thing again. You never see the guy. Well, my first thought just now, as we just literally just planted this seed in my head, given the nature of legacy sequels like Maverick and that's the only one. That's the only one.
Yeah.
And there's a precedent for this. What about bringing Pierce Brosnan back for one more?
One more time.
Pierce Brosnan was genuinely disappointed that he didn't get to do another one after Die Another Day. Casino Royale was even being tossed around, the gritty premise of it, and Brosnan was interested in getting back down to that nitty gritty Bond, which is always what happens with Bond. As soon as they go too far, they strip it down to its simplest parts and clean up. It happens within the runs of characters like Connery and Roger Moore, and it could have happened with Pierce Brosnan. Now, certainly he's a much older man now, but he's no less charming. Any desire to see something like that happen? Old man Bond.
I love Pierce Brosnan. I wouldn't want to make that our demand here. But that title, Old Man Bond, could be good. I actually wouldn't, and it wouldn't be what he was initially asking for, what you're initially proposing, but having him be M.
Oh, have Pierce Brosnan play M.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's fun. Yeah.
So the way I want to go into this demand, and actually I like the idea of doing that, I want to go into this demand similar to George Miller and Mad Max.
Okay.
And here's what I mean by that. Perhaps I'm not familiar enough with exactly what George Miller has wanted, but what I know of it is it's not ever, or at least he's never actually said if it is a continuous world. Like, I know there are people who have put up the claim that Tom Hardy's character is the feral child,
the dog boy from
who takes the name Mad Max, and that it truly is, Fury Road truly is a continuation. I've also heard the notion that no, it's supposed to be more of a myth, and there is like the stories aren't truly connected.
These are the these are the fireside legends being told of Mad Max, and that's why it's different every time. I've heard that one too. Yeah.
I prefer approaching James Bond that way.
Okay.
Like, we're gonna tell this James Bond story. It's not about continuing continuity. Sometimes, if we want to, it will. If we want to allude to previous things, we can. And essentially what it's going to be is, it's going to be a mess as far as the notion of canon goes.
Well, it's always been a mess, because Bond being married at the end of on Her Majesty's Secret Service did maintain an element of continuity.
Sure.
Roger Moore visits her grave in the beginning of one of his movies. And so there's always been this loosey-goosey continuity. I mean, there's a fourth wall break at the beginning of On Her Majesty's Secret Service where George Lazenby gets beat up, and he looks to the camera and goes, "This never happened to the last guy." and that's cheeky and it's fun. And then of course they force continuity on us in the Daniel Craig ones,
because cinema had turned in such a fashion that suggested that's what audiences want.
Sure. And if I've said anything about James Bond, is that Bond doesn't make trends, he chases trends.
Yeah. And so to that end of not that kind of lack of continuity, but having a cheeky Easter egg, having Pierce Brosnan be M, is fun. It's a fun reference, and it leaves it up in the air. Like, is that actually Bond having retired and ranked up?
I like that.
Or what does this mean?
Yeah.
We won't answer that. It's just a fun thing to have in there.
And evoking George Miller to do such a thing is great. That is.
Thank you.
Proper.
Perfect.
Yeah.
But I think let's
kind of. Oh my God! I just thought of a Bond girl name.
Go for it.
Bangs Proper.
All right. Yeah.
And she has like a bowl cut haircut.
No.
Because she has bangs.
Oh crap!
She has bangs.
I was gonna say that doesn't work, but actually you can make that work.
Bangs Proper.
Not you. Like one could make that work.
If we're going classic, like Connery era Bond, like
I don't know if. Anyway, well, here's what I wanted to do.
Sorry, that's okay.
We might even do that. I wanted to go over like we have our demands of what we're not supposed to do,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to talk about what James Bond is, because when we tried to do this last time and it never made it to anyone's ears, we struggled because I think we couldn't decide what Bond was and how we wanted to change it and or update it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the key to Bond. Let's talk about what the key to Bond is.
Sure.
I think the key to Bond is he's an escapist power fantasy.
Yes.
He is a super spy who kills the bad guy and sleeps with the bad guy's girl. He is as seductive as he is killer.
Mm-hmm. Also, Bond is static. He is not a character that evolves or changes. Barely.
Yes, I don't think it's impossible. I don't think that's a rule, and I don't think that's a part of the allure or attraction to the character.
Right. So yes, to your point,
But-
he's a male power fantasy.
Yeah, but that's not a hard rule to the power fantasy, but it is commonly seen where it's not the character that changes, it's the world that is changed by the character.
Right. That's Indiana Jones is similar, and that's because Indiana Jones was created as the desire to do James Bond.
Yeah. That's true. That's an interesting factoid. I did not know.
Oh yeah, Spielberg wanted to direct a James Bond movie but couldn't because the Broccoli said no, and so he, in his desire to want to do James Bond, George Lucas came to him and said, "I have an idea," and pitched Indiana Jones as an opportunity to do the globe-trotting, punch, seduce women,
Nice
hero, and also the dream come true of James Bond literally being the father of Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
So there, a little tangential trivia there for you,
That's
folks.
fun.
Male power fantasy.
Yeah. So, and the thing is, I think approaching it from that, I think we can craft a Bond that isn't necessarily toxic and gross, because ultimately, that was what torpedoed the last episode that we were too embarrassed to release.
Well,
and it's not that we were like, oh yeah, and he gets totally gross. It's that we couldn't. It was like no, it was but Bond is gross. How can we change it? And every time I was like, but now we're changing him too much.
well, let's look at the Broccoli's requirements.
Sure.
Now, to be fair, I don't know. I didn't mark down when this demand was sent in. Amazon, the Broccoli's have finally sold James Bond. The Broccoli's no longer own James Bond. That is crazy
Yes.
because they've sold it to Amazon. Jeff Bezos, first thing he tweets is, "Hey, people, who do you think should be the next James Bond?"
I think it should be a super-powered time traveler.
Then that begs the question of, will they stick to these standards? Let's work under the assumption that we will maintain the
Yes.
Broccoli standards. Also, Aaron Taylor Johnson and Henry Cavill. There you go. So, one, Bond is not an anti-hero. He is a hero.
Yes.
Okay, that's number one. Number two, there's the elements such as the gun barrel sequence, the signature drink, the Aston Martin, the theme music, the gadgets, exotic locations, and a Bond girl / Bond woman.
I think these are fun iconographic elements that I don't plan on violating or leaving out, but it's feeling not superfluous. It's feeling like a distraction.
Well,
Like imagine having all of these things, but none of the spirit of James Bond.
Yeah. Oh, certainly. Kingsman.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, one would argue Kingsman is playing up the R-rated version of the Roger Moore era, blah, 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 blah. I'm just listing what's listed under the Broccoli's demands, and
Gotcha,
we can choose to ignore them because, yes, we're going to have a gun barrel sequence. Yes, we're going to have the theme song. Those are, superfluous. We don't need to discuss how the Aston Martin's going to work its way into a series that, by the way, what is James Bond's drink of choice, Jim?
Dos Equis.
It is
martini shaken not stirred.
What kind of martini?
I don't remember.
A vodka martini
Oh,
shaken not stirred.
Yeah.
Specifically vodka martini shaken not stirred, which was coined and popularized by the first James Bond movie when Smirnoff came to the Broccoli's and said, "We will give you money to make a drink based on our vodka, not gin."
Yeah.
And so the vodka martini that James Bond drank, his signature drink, was product placement from the beginning.
His watch is product placement. I think it started as Rolex.
Yeah.
And then Rolex like didn't want to sponsor it or wanted them to remove it or something like that, and they switched it.
Swatch watch.
Yep.
Yeah. So you can
swap them out like a spy.
Yeah. Anyway, I just think that's fascinating, the product placement. He did drink Heineken recently.
Yeah.
He's British and must reflect British values. Violence must be stylish, not gratuitous gory. Sex appeal without graphic sexual content. Villains must be grand and thematically rich. Petty criminals and small-time crooks are not big enough for James Bond. So, main villain can't be.
Well, yeah. Why would MI6?
No, I'm just reading the demands.
There's a back alley gang of street racers stealing DVD players. Bond, we need you on the.
Oh my God! James Bond versus the Toretto family.
Yes.
Oh my God! Vin Diesel wants that.
I know he does.
And didn't someone who directed a Fast and the Furious also direct a Bond movie?
I don't know.
Who did Cary Fukuyama did the No Time to Die? And am I remembering correctly? Didn't he do Fast 8? No, that was F. Gary Gray. Never mind. I'm off the talk here. Tone must balance glamour and seriousness. Bond must never be self-loathing. He can struggle emotionally. He can question his job, but he must fundamentally believe in the importance of his mission.
Sure.
Protect the mythos. No full parody, no full deconstruction. And James Bond will always be about legacy. It is not just a film. There you go. Those are the Broccoli's. Now, keeping the core of Bond.
Yeah.
And understand that he seduces women. Fine. With that, we're not going to make him gross. Whatever. We agree to that. With all that in mind, did I throw you off at all by reading that off?
I just don't really understand what that last one means.
Bond is a legacy. We must honor the legacy. They sold it. They sold it to Amazon.
Is the notion of that like was that just a keep your chin up kind of demand? Like this is about like you're joining a legacy here. Keep that in mind, kind of thing.
Maybe that's what it means. Let me see if I don't know if there's any elaboration to it. Broccoli's. Okay, there you go. We are continuing our legacy with this franchise. We are extremely cautious about casting and tone to protect Bond's long-term appeal. It sort of sounds like we're too chicken shit to cast someone who isn't a white man. That's what it really sounds like.
It sounds like a catch-all for anything else they want to include in that.
We will take years between films when necessary because we will never rush to meet pressure if we think it will damage the brand.
Cool.
There you go. It does seem a little self-important.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So now, keeping all that in mind, do you have any points of attack here? Something's come to mind other than bangs proper.
This actually came up in a conversation I think a couple weeks ago, and I think the key for a Bond is the bad guy.
100% agree.
It really,
I 100% agree.
It seems like it's not, because when I think back on many Bond movies, it's like the third or fourth thing that I might actually remember.
Right.
But I think the reason it's important is because it defines how Bond can move forward. And I think the reason we had trouble with this in the past is because we kept trying to not necessarily deconstruct the genre, but we kept approaching it in not enough of a black and white way.
Yes. We focused on Bond moving through the plot. And if we go villain forward, if we think about the villain, the threat, what the villain's motives are and methods are, now we can take this Bond character who exists in pretty tight constraints, and now put him into that plot.
Yeah.
So, villain forward is going to save us here.
And
yes,
we have entered a period in time in which Bond villains kind of seem aplenty.
Yeah, it kind of got a little quaint that we exist in a world where Bond villains are actually running abouts.
Yes.
Something that the Pierce Brosnan era dealt with, similar to some other franchises in the mix, was the end of the Cold War. To being a fossil of a bygone era. The Cold War is over, James.
Yeah.
You are a relic. It is not us versus the Russians anymore. And certainly the first Bond movie is him versus the Russians one last time.
Yeah.
And then they moved on from that. The Cold War is over, but we have entered a new era of war.
Sure. And it appears more like Bond's Cold War than not.
Yeah.
We're talking about oligarchs. We're talking about I'm just getting right to it. Authoritarianism, fascism, Nazis, and American oligarchs.
Yes.
That's where I'm going.
Yes. And the best Bond movies reflect the eras that they came out in. So I think the original 3 Connery ones are probably, especially for their era, but especially for what they did for cinema, even though it was replicating North by Northwest and what have you. That trilogy is the best back to back to back. Like those 3 in back to back like that. That's the best trilogy in the Bond franchise.
Okay.
I'm an apologist for Quantum of Solace, but you can't go Casino, Quantum, and Skyfall as the best trilogy because that middle one's a problem, right?
Yeah.
I am apologist for it, but I can admit the quality is dipped.
Yeah.
So, but reflection of the era, Daniel Craig is a post 9/11 Bond.
Yeah.
In post 9/11 cinema.
Yes.
And that is very much reflected in the movies that he's made. The end of the Pierce Brosnan era, the excess and the 90s-isms of his era is reflected in post-Cold War into that era. And so I argue Goldeneye and Tomorrow Never Dies are pretty much equally as good. I know that might be blasphemy to some people. So because we exist in this era now, Bond going up against fascist oligarch trillionaires.
Yep. More so, I actually really like the idea specifically of going up against. And I know he has. They're up against an American villain, and I know he has gone up against them previously. And either I just don't remember them well enough, or I feel like a new type of American Bond villain has kind of coalesced.
Right. It's like, yeah, honestly, those first ones, because they're going straight from the books, they are British villains. They are German villains. They're right. Like Blofeld is like Eastern European. There have been the Dalton villain. I think the first one. I think he's Zato. I think he's American. It's the guy who's in the mask.
I know Christopher Walken was in there somewhere.
Oh, you know what? Joe Don Baker plays a villain is the villain in.
He's the villain
in Living Daylights. Joe Don Baker is the villain
in
Timothy Dalton's.
He was the American CIA agent. He was his buddy.
He
kept calling him Jimmy.
He was. Oh my God, his name's Jack Wade. You
figured it out.
Oh my God. But no, Joe Don Baker's 2 different characters in Bond. Oh my God, funny. You're a funny man. Whoever sent that demand in, Jack.
Jack Wade did.
Jack Wade did. Thank you. No, in Living Daylights, he plays like an American arms dealer, military fanatic.
Oh,
like he's a disgraced arms dealer, military wonk. What's his name? Something like I could Google it, but like he's American. But you're suggesting
there've been Americans,
right?
Basically, I want to do. This might be our most political episode.
That's fine. We've come here before.
I'm imagining someone who is who's a
Walken's a villain in
Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
Did I not say?
I was too busy
thinking about Joe Don Baker.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I think about Joe Don Baker quite a bit.
Yeah. My Mitchell.
I want to do like a I know Musk is South African, but like a social media oligarch type is what I'm thinking of.
Jonathan Pryce in Tomorrow Never Dies is a bit like this.
He was a media guy.
He was sort of Steve Jobs-esque, but he was yeah, you're right. He was a media guy.
Yeah,
having someone who is
who then wasn't his plan. Like he controlled the media and then ultimately controlled the weather. Am I mixing it? Because I know he had a hovercraft. He controlled the media from a hovercraft.
It's a good movie.
But I thought the weapon they were trying to steal was a weather control device. I might be very, very wrong.
He's starting a war. Yeah, he's a media Mongol and he's starting wars for the ratings and the market access.
Yeah, that's what I call weather.
Yeah. But anyway, okay, to go to this sort of Musk-looking guy.
But rather than because that's fomenting actual war, right? So that's James Bond stopping a war.
Right.
I'm imagining more like what we see happening. I'm seeing this very powerful entity basically taking control of America, basically taking control of one of Britain's allies.
Okay.
Very, very dangerous control, right? Potentially turning Britain's ally into an enemy. And so James Bond has to go in to stop this.
So if like this guy, we're not going to keep calling him Musk. Let's come up with a villain name here.
Zuckerberg. Thiel, Yarvin, Drumpf.
Sin.
You want to come up with I see. Yeah. Let's go with that. Sin.
Victor Sin. He's developed through his technology. He's that it's kind of like mass hysteria. No, that doesn't work because that's like Jonathan Pryce's plan. So
the thing is, a couple other Bond things have kind of felt like this as well. Because wasn't not the last Bond. Surveillance, right?
That's Skyfall.
Skyfall has
Silva dealt a lot with surveillance. Yeah.
The thing is, that's really what social media is right? So Peter Thiel has this company called Palantir, and this is real life. Palantir is being sold to the U.S. government, has already been sold to many different parts of the government to basically identify and observe and follow many aspects of life so that they can monitor all of us.
Yeah.
And we don't know about it.
You know about it. And that was the last we ever heard from Jim.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm suggesting something on that scale, like the idea of like, I don't need to fight or take people hostage or blow anything up when they give me everything willingly. And the idea of right, this multifaceted propagandist who has by hook and crook wheedled his way into being the man who stands behind the man who stands behind the throne.
So he has done this to multiple leaders around like Europe or whatnot.
It could be. Yeah. I was just thinking the U.S.
Like the president is fully compromised.
But the plan after that is to spread to other countries as well.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So he is a. Are we making him South African? A South African maniac?
No, I was just going to say American.
Okay. He's a full-on American trillionaire.
Yeah.
Tech mogul who has used his ones and zeros to not just put people in power but control them. Did he get the president elected? Are we full on going with this? Like, is this allegory going to be a 1-for-1 to some people? Like,
sure. I don't mind it. I'll go there.
Yeah. And once he has placed his people in power, now he's like, now let me reshape the world.
Mm-hmm.
And he is eliciting wars. Like you said, he can kind of do this without blowing shit up. And so it's pitting.
Basically, declaring certain rights moot, and shaping society how he decrees.
Okay, motive wise and executing that's, I like where your head's at. We're basically taking what is believed to be and cranking it up to cinematic levels.
Sort of like the reality of it is so absurd that it kind of is movie levels, but people aren't going to believe that. So we can put it in a movie.
Yeah.
Pretty much as is. So the ultimate plan could be here. How about this? I'll lay these things out, and maybe this is where we're going to go.
I think I get it. Yeah.
He's literally making his own. He's using this society that he's taken control of. He's essentially zombified, and within it, he is building his own city that he can do what he wants with. And so he is now deporting, quote unquote, people that. Rather than it being horrifically in real life, it's the deplorables, the unwanted. He's and he might actually be doing that to cover kidnapping people that he wants, certain certain scientists and things like that he is then taking to his private city, where everyone is basically going to be his slaves doing what he wants.
Is the city he's taking control over Washington, D.C.?
No.
You're saying he's fully building
building a whole new, or if you want it to be an existing city, then literally he's gonna escape from New York, basically
that's what I'm thinking.
The government declares, this city,
I think that's too far. I'm suggesting
but that's what they're doing in real. They're creating things called freedom cities, where one technocrat will rule over the whole thing, and none of the people. It'll be like a company town, but with technology, and everyone will be highly, highly surveilled and controlled. It's a supervillain plot.
It is. Can I say?
Is it too? Do you think that's too out there for a movie?
No, give me okay.
Sure.
He's using psychological warfare, precision propaganda,
and the levers of government.
Yeah, and he's created his own system of government by getting people elected. He's stacked everything. He has Congress under his thumb. He literally has the president under his thumb, like on speed dial. Like he's manipulated the system right in front of us, and he controls it. That's where I'm like, okay, we've laid out a villain. We've got a villain.
Sure. Okay.
Vincent. What did I say?
Vincent Sin.
Victor Sin has done this. He even smiles for the camera. He's a public facing man, and even if there's conspiracy that he has done all this, there's no proof.
Sure.
And he shuts the media down.
Because he's done it through puppets, and because he controls the media.
So he's just this friend in the city, this friend of people in power. He has no power himself. Okay. This is the villain. This is what he's done. If someone within the system is running, I'm getting chased by what is essentially Secret Service being controlled by someone else, and I'm going to be killed. Okay. I am a senator from Oklahoma. I don't know.
Okay.
Literally running for their life. Don't know who they can trust. Contacts MI6. Help. This country has fallen. Everything, all the conspiracies about this guy are true. Oh no, bang. And now we have a reason to send James Bond. A call for help has gone out.
I don't think it should. I see what you're saying. How about this? The call for help comes from. We can even have like a cold open. I know the cold open is normally supposed to be Bond.
Yeah, certainly. Go ahead. Yep.
The cold open is an agent, an American agent. I don't know if we would want to say straight up CIA or just another alphabet agency or someone is running, and they're the ones who get a message to MI6. And MI6 basically, with this information, with this cold open, verifies that they're
compromised.
They're the last friendly agent across the pond has gone dark.
And so now that is the final red flag. That means we got to go in and see what's up.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. So Bond. Okay, so if the cold open is action sequence non-Bond related, and then the phone call is like the phone call gets across Bond, and they activate Bond. Like
so, I realized in my excitement to just frame it like real life stuff, we don't have a MacGuffin.
We'll get there.
Like what's the button that Bond needs to push or needs to prevent from being pushed?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Like Sam Jackson in Kingsman was gonna make everyone fight to the death.
Okay. How about this?
What's our villains?
Could the MacGuffin, the thing that needs to be stopped, that Bond needs to blow up or whatever to stop the thing, could our Victor Sin? His plan has already been executed to the point where he's literally running for president, and his night of the election red button that seals the deal for him is the thing that'll be his computer algorithmic thing that he will hit enter on will sway the election in his result sway the election results in his favor, and so Bond has to blow up that. That's my first blank idea, because you're right. Bond needs to blow something up to kill this guy.
It could be.
Because you're right. If whatever this villain is doing, there's the ultimate plan is going to come to fulfillment at the end of this movie. And either Bond stops it, which he will, or
I guess ultimately, I think where I would, where I kind of want to see this go. The reason the British and Bond get involved isn't actually even because, oh no, we have to help the Americans. It's actually, oh no, the Americans have fallen. Oh no, the person who has taken them is now spreading to the rest of the world.
Okay. So America has fallen?
Yeah.
Ooh. That's pretty sci-fi. So, elaborate on that.
Well, I guess I laugh because that phrase "America has fallen" doesn't mean that like it has literally fallen anywhere or it has lost its weapons. It means it has fallen out of the alliance that.
Like they backed out of the Paris Accords and the UN, that sort of crazy thing.
Yeah. Enemy agents have turned them against all of what the rest of the Western Alliance has been, and those forces are now seeking to undermine Britain and other allies in the same way.
Okay. Okay, so Victor Sin is a fascist trillionaire who has manipulated his way into literally controlling the U.S. government. He's already at the beginning of this. Our cold open is Bond securing this information.
Okay.
Like he's getting he's on some operation in what's the territory? Guam.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking of like a U.S. territory.
Oh, okay.
And then getting the doohickey bang 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 shoot shoot action sequence that starts the movie off, and he escapes with the doodad to get back to MI6 to say, I got the doohickey, and they're like, well, this
I got the microfiche.
Confirms the microfiche. We are setting this modern day.
Yes.
Okay.
So definitely microfiche.
Yes. So America's fall. That is what's proven in the opening act of this movie, is that like the big villain we have to face is the King of America.
Well,
the president? No. This guy.
The Shadow King.
Victor Sin, the Shadow King. Yeah, there's his villain name, the Shadow King. Um, he's American. He's a tech industrialist. He's a. Do you like the idea that he controls the media as well? Like
ultimately, yeah.
Probably a defense contractor to start. Like maybe that's how he started his like tech, like Zuckerberg and defense.
Nope,
private contract.
Private, yeah.
Okay.
But think of how all of our current techno oligarchs got their starts. Bezos, Musk, Thiel.
So
it was PayPal, Amazon, Tesla, Twitter.
Yeah, Peter Thiel.
Peter Thiel.
Yep. That name I'm afraid I have never heard before, which makes me all more frightened by him.
J.D. Vance was his boy.
Oh God!
And that he because that's how J.D. Vance kind of got the VP nomination. That's what he wanted, and through pressure through Musk and other just rich means is how he got J.D. Vance pushed into that role.
So he already has his thumb on the scales.
Yes.
Just spicing that up. So Victor. Oh no, he's American. I was going to give him an accent. Victor Thiel. No, that sounds like Rami Malek. He believes that liberal democracy has outlived its usefulness.
Yeah.
Right. And he sees the world is begging for a single, efficient, authoritarian state to restore order, to almost make the world great again.
Yep.
And his goal is not to conquer through armies, like you said. He's not bombs and guns that he's conquering with, but through like controlled attention, obedience, and the control of like people's digital life.
Sort of, yeah.
And he controls the president.
And democracy is slow and inefficient, and a technocrat, a tech bro, wants to do nothing but to move fast and break things.
Yeah.
Flood the zone.
If we
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. If we want to, do we want to go to like supervillain level where he's literally mind controlling people?
No, I don't want to. It's not like brainwash.
Great. Okay.
But like, and I don't know if we'd want to get to the point where it's like, oh, Bond, you're after me. Well, guess what? I've put out your face all over the Schminternet, and everyone looks at the Schminternet. So now everyone sees your face. And they're, hey, get that guy. I don't know if we want to go that far.
Yeah. So it's not like mind control. Yeah, and exposing Bond to do shit like he's already out there. Like, hi, James Bond over here. How's it going? Hey, Martini, shaking that sword. Make a vodka. You got Smirnoff back there?
Yeah, but if every guy on every street corner knows his face.
So what's the big thing that this guy who already like has controlled America?
Right. What's the third act? And my ultimate plan is a laser on the moon. Right. Like
freaking sharks with freaking lasers on their freaking heads. Right, like I'm asking you, but I'm giving myself time to think of one myself, because what is the
well, and that's why I went to. They're known as freedom cities. A couple of them actually kind of exist around the world. That ultimately is the goal of the technocrats. These people in real life is to make these sovereign city states where one person rules at the top and does what they want.
What if he has like a program that will give him full control of the military worldwide? Because it's not.
He's going to make a new world order with just one person at the top.
Yeah, where he's like, if there's other like the people pushing against him, like the German president or the French president, prime minister, the British prime minister, Canadian, like they are the Australian president, like all these allies are like pushing back against the president. And the president's like, no, I think this is best for our country and best for the world is if we do it this way. And the pushback on that is when Victor Sin steps forward is like, you're going to do all the policies I want.
What do you think about the idea of a point in the movie, he gets accused, like Bond even accuses him, you're brainwashing these people. And he says, yes, but not the way you think. And because it literally, it's not like their eyes glaze over and they're unaware of what they're doing. He is just, honestly, what we would call them, he's radicalized them.
Okay.
And so he has organized these these groups
yeah.
who are
Dude.
Standing back and waiting for orders.
He already has and he already has the two things he needs: money and the money to buy people into power. So either you bend your knee to me, or I'll replace you. Yeah. I will run someone against you with more money than God, me, and they will beat you, and then I will have a puppet in Germany, in Australia, in Japan. So his doodad could be a final thing that gives him control of all the money in the world.
Order 66. No, sorry.
All the money in the world.
Sure.
Because he already has enough money to do all this, but essentially it's like, well, if I do X, if I press this, if I complete my plan, I will literally control all the money in the world. That shouldn't be the name of the movie.
No, well, I was actually going to say it could be the name of the movie, and we just don't say that line. And what he does is what he's doing is he's threatening to actually crush, to literally delete entire economies.
Yes, yeah. There we go.
And now we can make him a crypto bro.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
I mean, these dorks you've been talking about are all crypto bros.
And that's exactly why they want to crash the economies, so that way their cryptocurrency is the one that is still available.
Okay, so is the MacGuffin that final piece of the puzzle that'll allow him to delete money?
What do you think? Sure. So he's taken over the U.S. So he has established himself like, I am here, and you will play ball, and Britain and maybe what if some other countries, they're like, we're not going to do that, and like, okay, as an example, kachoom, and he destroys the.
I've used blockchain mutations and quantum decryption to delete your to backdoor delete.
The franc.
The franc. The franc is now gone.
Although I think it's already gone because there are euros. I don't actually know how euros work. Oh, no.
I have backdoor access to the central bank digital currencies, cryptocurrencies, and old school reserve data, and I am deleting it. No, he sounds cooler than that.
Yeah.
This guy is smooth. He's as cool as they all wish they were. He's as cool as Elon Musk thinks he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
What was it? Someone said he's never seen anyone spend so much money to go from being a 5 to a 7.
Yeah.
You know what?
Pick a country.
Yeah.
Right? Like, all I can think of are European Euro.
Latveria.
Sure, Latveria. He's like, all right, resist me, Doom. That was your last chance, and I have crushed your Doom Ruple. And Latveria, like, we have a screen, and Latveria, the Doom Ruple goes to 0.
No, Richards. The Doom Ruple is amazing. He can delete entire GDPs.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, so this doodad is what Bond needs to get and destroy, right?
Yeah.
If he's consolidated that into a singular device, now we have a thing that Bond can get to and kill. He can kill the machine. Maybe this guy is so egotistical that he keeps it on him, like it's something that he that's like he's had his freaking lung removed and replaced with this thing. I'm just saying, like, something that it would be simple to go, like, why didn't he have backup systems? That's the hubris of this man. It's like, it's his one and only. It's his Apple Watch. It's
a ring, and he calls it the Midas touch.
Ooh, a full hand.
Oh, that's good. I was gonna say, wait, a full hand of rings?
No. His whole hand has been replaced.
His hand has been replaced.
His hand is what Bond needs to chop off.
No, that's a good idea. The thing is that notion though of Midas's touch is the reverse of what we set up.
Yeah.
In this, it's he can make money disappear, whereas Midas could turn anything into money.
Well, he can call it the Midas touch, and then Bond can point out to him that that's actually not what he's doing.
You stupid!
You stupid asshole!
That was the one flaw in your plan.
How about this? It's his hand. It's like his full hand is the device.
It's his gold member.
And oh my God, and his dick. That's what I was. You beat me to the punch. It.
Sorry,
I was saying an eyeball. Like it's his eye and his hand. Like some like he's sort of cybernetically replaced parts of himself. He is the MacGuffin. So Bond just needs to beat the snot out of him by the end of this thing.
Give me that eye. Punch. No, give me the eye. No.
You know what this doohickey kind of is the box from Sneakers.
Kind of, yeah.
And I'm okay with that because for those of you listening who may not have seen the movie Sneakers, it's awesome and you should see it and it's great and it's got an amazing cast and it's a great movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think of that? Like, I went to the supervillain level of a hand and an eyeball here.
Yeah. I'm not totally sold on the hand and eyeball, but I think there's other things to discuss that either could win me over or I might think of something different.
Do you like the notion of he has it on him?
Sure.
So now Bond can literally get to this bad guy and beat the bad out of him. If he destroys the thing, the economies are safe.
Sure.
Because
sort of.
We give Bond
rather than his eye.
Yeah.
What if he builds into a pacemaker, a dead man switch?
Yeah. Okay.
Literally, if you kill me, Bond, they all delete now. They all delete immediately.
Then we could have two missions here. One is to kill the heart, and second is destroy the backup system, or create a backup system to stop that from happening. Because now Bond can have an ally, usually a woman, who can be responsible for that part of the mission. If the heart's going to go offline, we need something to keep the economies intact. But then the question that is left on the table at the end of the movie, which is a good open-ended thing, is, well, now who controls the device now that the supervillain has it, and that's top men, right?
Yeah.
So if we have a second,
that's MI7 business now.
Yeah, right. But having a two-pronged attack, if we stop the heart, but we have a backup system, and the backup system is the most important part of this plan, because Sin is going to be like, if you stop my heart, Mr. Bond, you will delete everything, and you will create an anarchy that I would never even go so far as to create. The opposite of what I want. I want control, Mr. Bond. I want a world united under one flag and $1 that happens to have my face on it. If you kill me, you wipe all that away. And I would never do that all at once, unless pushed to do that. Like, villain talk.
Yeah.
Yeah?
The only thing that keeps society running and separate from wolves tearing at each other is the dollar, is trade. And I am willing to delete all of it if you punch me in the nose, Mr. Bond.
It's just my world, Bond. You're just living in it.
So, that kind of thing.
That's actually the theme song that we get an Oscar for. My world, you're just living in it. It's my world. You're just living in it.
You're just dying in it?
Yeah. Ooh. Okay. This is okay. I think we did what needed to be done, which is create a villain, and now Bond can exist.
That it's going to feel awesome watching Bond find and defeat.
Right. Now, in order to do that, we need to move him across the world a few times. We need a secondary muscle for him to get past, to get to our villain. So someone who is a physical threat, because our main character, I don't want to get in the end of Die Another Day where we got Electro, Snotman punching Bond, right? But giving him some sort of cuticle.
Sure.
We can bring cuticle back. Jaws was in more than one.
Yeah.
Jaws was in more.
Yeah. He was? Oh. Yeah, I'll bring Dave Bautista
back. We don't have to do that.
With his murder thumbs.
But I want to take a quick little break here. We'll take our 5 and
now we'll get into the nitty gritty.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, let's move into some beats. Let's think about maybe who this partner is. Let's think of a muscle. Let's think of someone for him to seduce.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm so glad we found a good villain because really we can build the movie around that now.
Mhm.
So, all right, we're going to take a quick break here, and we'll be back after a few messages from 6.5 Media. What if this is the thing that gets us black bag?
Yeah. Yeah, what if it is?
Yeah. All right.
I hope the episode at least comes out before then.
Yeah. Oh, man, that'd be real surveillance right there if they've
Yeah.
heard this. All right, I want to give Jim credit. He's the one who said that off mic. That's not fair for me to take credit for that. Okay, so we now have our villain. We have his motives. He's controlling America. Now he's moved into controlling Europe, and he's starting to target leaders. Either bend the knee or I'll replace you. You're not going to do that? Delete. Where'd your GDP go?
Mhm.
Right. So he's big time threat man. Okay.
Yeah.
Having a cold open where Bond action sequences himself into some sort of confirmation of the threat of America. Like, what's our opening here that gets the train rolling?
Is this conflating too much with Mission Impossible if the cold open is with a different agent?
I don't mind it opening with a different agent. I'm okay with that, but it still needs to end. The cold open still needs to end with James.
It does?
I think that if it's seen in action sequence, sort of Josh Holloway in MI4 situation, where it's like, is this Bond? Is this Bond? Oh, it's not Bond. There still needs to be a handoff in that opening, even if it's just this agent confirming to M and then M contacting and waking up Bond. For example, we can draw from a book. From Russia with Love starts with Bond sitting poolside, bored out of his mind.
Bored wasn't quite where I have an idea.
Okay.
I don't, if you want to finish the opening
we have precedent to show, at least in the novels, Bond isn't active in the opening. We cut to him waiting for a mission.
This cold open is Bond sitting in a cafe at a hotel. Cut to an agent running for his life from other people chasing him down. Cut back to Bond sitting waiting. Waiter like, would you like to order now? No, I'm waiting for someone. Yeah. Cut back to the person. Not too long. We don't want to spend too long. They're just barely making it past these guys, and we see he's in the same place. Like maybe we see the hotel like a block down, and we do like a zoom in, and there's James sitting there, and he's running, and all sorts of stuff is happening. Basically shooting and dodging and stuff. Maybe the shooting stops once they're up on the street.
Yeah.
But basically, he gets to either right outside or like right across the street, and Bond makes eye contact with him.
Yeah.
And like the guy realizes, like he sees people converging. He knows this isn't going to happen. So he either just gives it could be a woman, just gives a look or a signal that Bond knows the meet is not going to happen.
Yeah.
And like maybe while like looking at them, like he puts his finger to his ear and to his MI6 like the
handlers or whatever.
The meeting is aborted. The meeting is failed or whatever, as that person gets black bagged, actually. Gets grabbed.
Okay.
And so that opening is right, the last agent getting information out of the U.S. to MI6 has been grabbed.
The Olympus has fallen. Not the movie I'm saying. Like that's basically the code for the White House is down.
Yeah.
Which is a different movie. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So confirmation that we have no more friendlies in the West.
Yeah.
And now that's confirmation. Now, do we send Bond off on his own to maybe there are still friendlies? It starts as a rescue mission kind of thing. Like what now that we've got that confirmation, where do we send Bond? So
he would be okay, come home. And he's going to come home, and then we're going to put together our exposition of M and Q explaining to him what we're doing now.
Okay. What are we doing?
Or we do like we do a 6 months later kind of thing.
Mhm.
And we can explain what just happened there, right? Like, so as of that mission,
Okay, I got it.
our last definitive friendly has fallen.
Right.
It's not that there are no more. It's that we can't trust that they haven't been compromised.
Yes.
And, on top of, we are already losing some of our own agents to this same compromise.
Mhm.
So this is whatever this is starting to infect others, including us.
Okay. Yes, I like this, and this is what I'm going to do. I love the idea of Bond not being action active in the opening because I want to build up to that.
Okay.
We're going to have whoever we cast in this. People will assume they're going to get James Bond action, but we're going to wait to give it to them.
My current favorite, like you named two in the opening, two
Yeah.
current favorites.
Mhm.
I like both of them. I keep going back to Kit Harington.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why. He's not blonde.
Yeah.
I think he would probably look terrible as a blonde.
Well, Bond isn't blonde. What are you talking about?
But that's a
James Blonde became a problem when Craig was cast.
He's not supposed to be blonde.
He's not supposed to be blonde.
I thought the Broccoli said he must be.
No.
Did I misunderstood?
You must have heard that.
I misheard that.
Here, whatever the case, our hero, we don't see Bond involved with action at first. Maybe we see him like in the shooting range or whatnot to hint at his skill. The first mission he's given is there are still some friendlies out there, and one of them needs extraction, and we can introduce Felix right away. We have an American friendly who not only is ready to defect to us essentially, but has information that will help us further the plot.
Okay.
So Bond is sent to retrieve. Sure, Hawaii. He's sent to retrieve Felix.
Okay. And
Felix is captured under duress or pinned down and not going to make it out alive. Bond shows up, smooth, like whatever infiltration he does to get there. And when we get to however many 15 minutes or so into the movie that this is, the first action sequence comes where Bond is activated. Where the thing I always point out to the Daniel Craig one, that opening parkour sequence is amazing, but the thing that's like definitive of his Bond is him plowing through that wall.
Okay.
Right. And having Bond show up in sort of that typical smooth, like Sean Connery wasn't doing kickflips, but getting to that point of he is ready to face some villains. We have our first like gigantic action set piece, and whoever this actor is cuts loose. Bond is very capable of John Wicking his way through this. And the reason I even evoke that is because Bond chases franchise stuff, chases trends.
Yeah.
Having our first true action sequence to leave the audience go, holy shit, James Bond! Like going to that Kingsman church level. You've seen Kingsman, right?
I have.
Yeah, going to that level of capability of Bond. Like when we finally turn Bond on. Not that way.
Okay,
yeah.
I see. Well, then I want to propose a change because I see what you're saying. That probably should be in the opening. Otherwise, right, as being a Bond fan, that's going to feel kind of weak. Bond just sat there through the whole opening, saw his friend, didn't even do anything. So what if? So is that?
That's what I'm suggesting. But go ahead.
So you were countering.
No.
What I was saying.
I'm suggesting we wait to see this first action sequence for when he saves Felix. That the audience is anticipating this.
Your description of it actually makes me think we shouldn't wait.
Okay.
Then, so instead of maybe then we see so have the length of whatever you're thinking that cold open was. We see him get black bag. Mm-hmm. We see him say something, and they say abort, and he says
no.
Yeah. Like I can fix this. I can recover this.
Yes, sorta. I don't want to see him unleash. I want to still save that, but giving him a little active in the opening, I'm okay with.
So you keep saying unleash. I don't think this Bond should be the beast that Daniel Craig was.
No. I'm thinking like John Wick, where he's like gun-fooing his way, punching, kicking, backflipping, that sort of James Bond.
Okay.
Because we've never seen a James Bond like that. We've seen the brute, and we've seen the suave judo chop Bond.
Sure.
And I'm saying we go Jason Bourne on these with this Bond. Jason Bourne isn't even a great example. John Wick, like having him go Neo. That's what I'm saying. Unleash to. This is a stunt team problem.
Yeah.
I'm just saying go ham.
Sure.
But for that opening, perhaps he.
You know what? Actually, comparison because even John Wick feels almost more like I'm imagining it. I'm imagining Bond being frickin' it's a bullet ballet like John Wick, except John Wick there was still a lot of visceralness to it. I'm honestly seeing a Pierce Brosnan type of combat scenes where he's kind of gun kata-ing through the situation.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well. Just just a type of action we've never seen James Bond do before that still is punching, kicking, shooting a gun, but just a bullet ballet is what you
just
evoke.
Owning it.
Yeah. Where it's just like I point to the church scene in Kingsman as a great example of that's cartoonish.
Yeah, but I think that's my only resistance to that example.
We'll let the stunt team figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah. But in that opening, I think giving him a gunshot or two, not punching and kicking, but even going so far as to like let that lead up to.
It could start with a chase. It could start with a car chase. Because if they grab the guy, put him in a van, and Bond's like, "I'm going to fix this."
No, abort, Bond, abort! And he takes the earpiece out, and he's like, "No, I will finish the job." And finishing the job might even go so far as having to kill the asset instead of letting them be taken hostage.
Maybe.
Whatever the case, he confirms what he needs to confirm and loses the one asset. And if we lose the American asset here, it puts Felix at risk later. Just thinking for dramatic tension purposes. They already killed one.
Sure.
Felix is killed in the second.
He's the guy who's fed to sharks.
Yeah. On his wedding day. Oh, poor guy.
Jesus.
Okay, so
or not sharks, alligators.
Getting him.
Right? I don't remember.
I think it's sharks. It's in the water.
Okay. It is. Yes.
Bond rescues Felix in a spectacular action sequence that everyone's going to be talking about. Only to be topped by the finale.
Yep.
Where he gets Felix out, and then we get more confirmation of the big. This is everything we need to know about the villain. This is everything we need to know about the thing. He's got his whatever's on his person. That's the bad guy we need to kill.
Sure.
And now it's I'm gonna go have a chat with him, and so now Bond gets to actually go to our villain and meet him face to face. So then they can cat and mouse their way to meeting each other for the finale.
Okay.
And this will also allow us to introduce the muscle, our Jaws, our Odd Job, our Q to Kill.
Yeah. Should he be a big guy?
Well, how well do you remember Die Hard 4? Live Free or Die Hard. There's the parkour guy.
Pretty. What I remember is his girlfriend was sort of the muscle.
Yeah.
And John McClane kept making foolish comments that just got him punched harder.
That's Maggie Q, and also there's like a jumpy parkour guy in there.
Is there? Okay.
He's like, what the hell? He throws him into a fan and he gets.
I think I like that more. A guy who, especially if we establish that this Bond isn't necessarily a parkour guy, but he is quite agile and
martial artist,
fast.
So having
someone be even faster,
which could lead to some nice whatever their fight looks like.
Yeah,
not the brute versus brute train fight.
A Roy Batty type.
Okay, yeah, someone who's just like cold and capable.
Yeah.
Much to the enjoyment of Victor Sin.
Yeah.
Getting like maybe they leave if it is Hawaii and then he has to get to DC and has his first encounter with Sin and meets our brute or a muscle. We'll call him muscle because brute suggests the wrong thing. The muscle to Sin. There's probably a little scuffle there. Some sort of action sequence with Bond versus martial art muscle. And Sin leaves to go to some other country to do other bad guy thing, and Bond has to follow him there, and maybe loses him along the way. I'm just trying to like globetrot a little bit.
So maybe not Hawaii, Australia?
Yeah, some island. So yeah, I said Guam. What's the other territory?
Puerto Rico.
That's right. There's another island chain that
there is.
Virgin Islands.
Okay.
but some sort of tropical location.
For the listeners from there, I'm so sorry.
It's the Virgin Islands.
I'm so sorry. I don't know who you are.
Or it's the Mariana Islands. Either way, we have 5 territories: Guam, Puerto Rico, 2 sets of islands. American Samoa. There we go.
There, yes.
I think I've named them all: American Samoa, Guam, Puerto Rico, Virgin Islands, and Meridian Islands. Marina Islands, Meridian Islands. Whatever. If you're from there, I deeply apologize. Blame the American education system that I don't know.
Which has been deleted.
Yeah. Thank you, Victor Sin.
Yeah.
You deleted money and education. Okay. Let's talk about...
And education is worth its weight in gold.
Ooh. Goldfinger. All right. A lady who's our second... we did introduce Felix into this, but maybe he's injured and can't be in the picture. To get to that culmination of punch this dude's heart out of his chest and having the backup system be made somewhere else, insert other allied agent.
Should it be a flipped asset?
Someone who... Okay, yeah, go with that.
One of Victorson's proteges who didn't see the how far this was going to go and is sickened
and turned
by what Sin is doing.
Let's have him. Could we? This might not work.
That also might not work.
No. I have an idea for a scene. Okay, we have our cold opening. We do the gun barrel sequence at the end of the car chase. Opening sequence. The next scene that happens after that is Victor with his muscle and his team member, and he
Sorry, a thought just for me for that intro.
Yeah.
What do you think about the idea of he gets the asset, they start driving away, and the muscle, I don't know if we want to necessarily introduce him this early, but the muscle Bourne Identities the asset.
No, I don't want to. I like where your head's at, but I don't want to introduce the muscle here. I want to wait to let's leave this Bond and let's.
Okay.
The only character here that matters is Bond.
Okay.
After the opening sequence, though, then showing the muscle and Sin and the asset that's going to flip, and have the muscle kill the asset right then and there. She messed up, and Sin is like, get rid of her, and a brief scuffle, and she's chucked off a building, killed or whatnot, and survives. So that once Felix is saved and Bond's on the road again, somewhere out there she resurfaces with a vendetta against him, and Bond clocks her, is like, no, this isn't the time to confront him. Who are you? I'm Bond, James Bond. Who are you? I used to work for that man. I'm going to kill him. You'll have your revenge. Let's work together.
Okay. I think she doesn't flip because she's sickened. She was already... She's... I don't know if she's necessarily working for someone. She might just be a whistleblower. So she was trying to take information and leak it.
And that's why she's killed. He has her killed. Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
Okay.
And now we have someone with that it's personal, someone who's a connection to the villain, because we could then have her fight the muscle. If Bond doesn't kill the muscle, we give her someone to fight. We have options here.
Okay.
In terms of how her finale looks in building the backup system.
Okay.
Or securing the backup system. Maybe Sin already does have a backup of his own that's hidden away that they somehow discover. So it's like, you get that, I'll kill his heart. I will punch his heart out of the back of his face. There's a visual. There's a visual for you. James Wan's directing this now.
Okay. So, right. So she's a hacker who's basically who he takes with him to hack a workaround.
I'm imagining the short former Red Room assassin from Captain America: Brave New World. Not her, but that sort of like.
I'm not remembering her.
She was the Israeli, like she was the Black Widow-esque character that helps them in Captain America 4.
I vaguely remember.
Oh, man, that poor movie. Anyway, she can fight. She has her own skills here, so she's not Natasha from GoldenEye. Whatever. Moving on.
I see what you're saying. I'm not against it. I'm not fully sold, but I'm not against it.
Okay. Okay, so globetrotting a little bit, trying to catch this guy. The revelation. She could even be the one that reveals the backup, the heart being the key. If he gets, or would Felix reveal that when he saves Felix? Does Felix have that last bit of information to be like, it's his heart. You got to punch it out of the back of his face.
I think he would.
Natalia, not Natasha. Sorry, that's it. Goldeneye. Sorry.
I don't know. I'm not sure here. I'm not sure how the dissemination of information should go.
Oh.
Because right. So it's the we get the cold open, doesn't get that that asset. 6 months later, M and Q fill Bond in on what's going on. The powers that be there have made everything go dark, and they have access to lots of other information, and we see them creeping in like an infection to other
countries.
Other countries.
He's building up to dissolving the UN. Like that's his
sure,
slowly working his way to doing that. Dissolving it or to controlling it.
Yeah.
I guess dissolving it with his own people in place. Yeah.
Corrupting it basically. So if that's
SynCorp will be the governing body of the world.
if that's the gist of the information they have, and it's not until they pick Felix up, they're like, and we're scrambling for any more actual hard data.
Mm-hmm.
We have one last friendly asset. We need you to rescue from the Virgin Islands.
Yep.
Go do that. Picks up Felix. Felix is like, this crazy asshole has put the device has a I don't know if you'd give him the dead man switch, or if you would let him know that he has a hand that can, with the snap of his finger, that's a little too literal. Not just literal, but a little too Thanos. Delete entire countries.
This man doesn't have troops.
Entire economies.
He has debt algorithms. It's fascism 2.0. He controls through. It's not fear. It's like economic annihilation. I'm trying to think of like fun things to say.
Yeah.
He's weaponized the banks.
Yeah. He's weaponized our income against us.
Mr. Bond, I don't kill people. I buy them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kill him.
Kill him. Buy him to death.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Sorry, let me be clear. I don't kill people. I buy them. My friend here is going to kill you.
Yeah. He's the embodiment of private equity.
Mm-hmm.
I liquidate. I liquidate companies.
Yeah. Where is? Oh, sorry.
So then she would have the information. I think she would have the information about the dead man switch.
Yeah. Right. If we stop the heart, then he deletes everything.
Yeah. She reveals the information. He's further along than any of you know. He already has his fingers in all of it. He can delete it all anytime he wants, and he's set up to do so if he is killed.
There's got to be a way to back. He doesn't have a backup. Then the question is we need to find out if there's a failsafe or a backup system.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, she can't seduce him because she's already been killed by him. But that's the piece of information they would then need to lead us into the third act.
Sure.
Because if he has a backup system computer that's connected via the cloud that he's created in some sort of vault underneath Philadelphia. I'm trying to think like the original capital of the country.
Sure.
I'm just trying to think of some significance here, where in America this moron would put his vault.
He might actually. He wouldn't put it in America. he would put it in something like the Cayman Islands,
Mm-hmm.
symbolic of where rich people hide their money.
Okay, yeah, and it's
And also so that we can get exotic, beautiful locations.
alternatively, well, it could still be an exact location, but what about in?
But what about downtown Philadelphia?
No. Well, this might be. It could still be an exact location, and it can still lead to a big action sequence underneath in his like vault or whatever,
Mhm.
where his computer operating system is. But in the access point to it to get into that is
Mhm.
his childhood home where his mother still lives. And so like Bond showing up to like kick some ass, and a little old lady is like, "Hello, do you know my son? Come on in, I made cookies." And then she pulls a big old gun on him. I don't know. Maybe that's a little too cutesy. It should probably be some exotic location so that we can watch cool things happen in cool locations.
I think it needs to be that. Like I get what you're going for, but that is somehow, even though that's sort of touching upon the imagery and the symbolic imagery we would want to invoke, it's not really Bond-esque.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's more Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
That's more even Bourne would be something like that. Bourne would be going up against films like this. I take your point. This is not Bond. Bond would not go to a little old lady's house.
Yeah.
Except for a joke, which this shouldn't be. Given the final location of the server and sending our Banks proper there, where does Bond confront Sin? If they're too far separated, where do Bond and Banks separate, or is it close enough? Like, say the G7 summit is where this is when the finale is going to take place, like where Sin's about to make his speech to the UN or whatever.
What do you think about, like, he doesn't actually show up anywhere? Like he doesn't personally go to those meetings. He would be on a screen at anything like that. He has a private island.
Okay. Yeah.
That is protected digitally.
Oh, you know what? A classic mountain fortress, like having a
I
villain lair.
You've
literally picked a villain lair. That's great.
I was thinking an island that a private plane is the only thing that has the security to go to and from. Otherwise, any other vehicle that tries to navigate there digitally, like the GPS is thrown off, and there's all sorts of things. So it's essentially it's in a black hole. No one knows how to get there.
It's literally off any grid.
Yeah,
except his own.
Yeah. The only ways to get there would be by old-fashioned navigating there, which could introduce another supporting character, or he has to infiltrate and get on that plane.
Getting on the plane to get to the island.
Yeah.
Ken Adam could totally design a kick-ass lair. Ken Adam did all the designs for like the early era of Bond fortresses.
By the way, this is an allusion to Epstein.
Oh my God! So we don't need to elaborate on that, but there's a lot of individuals on the island of questionable age.
Yeah.
Oh God.
No, there doesn't have just the idea of one of
private
these movers and shakers behind the scenes of all of these people at the top of this particular pyramid, and there being an island with a particular plane,
right?
And that's the only way to and from there.
Okay, yeah, having him infiltrate the plane to get to the island, I'm down for that. It offers either a tense sequence of him seducing the flight attendants, or having to action his way onto the plane and off the plane.
I think it would be like the sneaking seduction bit, and then while he's on his way, a screen pops up and he says, "Welcome, Mr. Bond.
Oh, I see you are going to join me on my island. I look forward to you being here.
Your name wasn't on the charter, but I'll make an exception.
I look forward to seeing you." So then
something like that.
He has to come and fight. Do
you want to make that their first encounter?
And then that's also where we have to send Bangs back to. That's her name.
You really want to go with this?
Miss Proper will have to go back to the island, is where she will end her. Oh, the whole thing takes place in the end. Is that what we're suggesting?
That was initially what we were suggesting.
Yeah.
Which it makes sense that we establish it early enough.
If we, I don't establishing it, but getting there so that the final action is there and we don't go there twice would be the thing. like getting to the island as the final
Sure.
location.
Yeah.
I think that's okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah. If how about this? James getting on the plane and sneaking his way there.
If he's found out and
Yeah.
Sin is like, hello, Mr. Bond,
Yeah.
you weren't invited.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We're gonna have to turn you around,
Yeah.
or something like that. Like to the point that Sin even sacrifices his own pilots.
Sure.
He'll activate a new plane and have new employees, but you're not coming here, Bond.
So plane's going to go down. Bond takes it over to land it.
Tries to.
This goes to what we initially talked about, the type of spy James Bond is and the type of spy other spies are. This whole thing, whatever the sequence before will allow us to get away with this. And I don't know what that'll be, but a couple scenes before, get up, like, this is what's going to happen. Bond gets on the plane. This all goes, he seduces the flight attendants. He's exposed. The plane's going to crash. He lands the plane. He crashes in the water near the island. He gets to the island. You will go.
No. This is the final.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking something different.
Oh,
I was thinking that it would happen. That would all be early on. That's when he first tries going to the island. He is rebuffed.
Oh,
he cannot get there. He can't get access. He doesn't know how. That's when Bangs.
Yeah. He's in.
Shows
folks.
up because she knows how. She knows how to
okay.
Either she knows how to hack through that security, or she's able to get them on the plane or something like that to get them to the island.
Here was my suggestion: if this was the finale of him getting on the plane, the plane crashing, it gets in the water. He gets on the island, and he's up front. I'm James Bond. Let's fight our way through. Miss Proper's been there, was on the plane too. She snuck on, and James getting there, being exposed, fine. If it was going to happen, it was going to happen. She's doing the spycraft to sneak past all of it to get to the lower floors to go after the. So you know what I'm saying? Like Bond was like, "Hey, here I am. I'm a spy and I'm coming to get you, bad guy." Oh no, you got. And she's the one who sneaked there. Like he did that as a distraction to get her to the island too. Just so that they're both in the final location. That was where I was going with this.
Gotcha.
And having him earlier in the movie have a plane crash and all that, then
no, not if this happened. Not if this happens here.
I'm willing to acquiesce to say if you think that action sequence can happen earlier, then they need to get to the island a different way. Not a plane.
Yeah.
So I make a hard pitch for that plane sequence being the entry into the third act, and Miss Proper is actually snuck onto the island, courtesy of James going through all that rigmarole.
That's pretty good. I was trying to introduce the island via our character earlier.
We can
don't know.
We could still establish the island. In fact, even if when we meet Sin, he's on his island. Like we see the island. We know what the final location is in the second scene of the show.
So even though our character doesn't necessarily know it,
right?
We do.
We know that it's somewhere tropical. It's an island of sort. We establish it right up front, and that's eventually where Bond needs to go after he's been to America, to some islands, to London, to UN summit, like bouncing around the globe a little bit.
Yeah.
And then once he's landed on the island, and he's going after Sin. Bangs in the meantime is going after the backup system, and they need to time what they're doing simultaneous. He can't kill Sin until the backup is confirmed in her control.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
And then so she gets to fight the Muscle while Bond
fights.
fights.
She fights?
Well, I don't know.
The Muscle?
If we want to use that, I said that we had two options. Either that's someone she has a vendetta with, or she just mows through some nameless guards while Bond fights the Muscle to get to Sin and then has to fight Sin.
I honestly, yeah, either works for me. Well, Bond should probably fight the Muscle. As far as her also being an action star, I would be more okay with that if she was also a spy of some sort. Her just being a whistleblower programmer who also knows combat foo to take out a bunch of trained security doesn't work.
Yeah,
for me.
let's make her. So Tomorrow Never Dies has Michelle Yeoh playing an agent. as well. Having Miss Proper be
she is an agent, and she has been
yeah,
planted for a while now.
Years in the making.
Mm-hmm.
She took her a long time to get into there, and Sin could even prove the power of his algorithms by going, oh, my computer didn't do anything. I do this and this and this. Huh. Well, I didn't see that coming. Look what my ones and zeros just told me. It seems Miss Proper here isn't as friendly as we thought she was. Muscle, take care of her. I don't know. In the introduction of his ability with ones and zeros, money,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. His controlling of the algorithms exposes her on the spot. Or has he known for a while?
No, I don't, well, maybe.
It's a bit... I don't care.
Actually,
it's a bit Elsa Faust, and I don't care. She's the best. Because she had inserted herself amongst in Rogue Nation. But that's okay. Steal from it's James Bond. Steal from the good stuff.
Crap! I lost it.
Exposing her if she has he known for a long time.
If he's known, like basically what his monologue is he's just so disappointed. He's known for so long, but he hoped he could convince her.
I paid you
but
so
clearly,
well.
when you sent this email out, I guess I didn't convince you.
Yeah.
Muscle sure. Yeah, like she
liquidate my asset.
That was her final chance.
Yeah.
And then, the worm you put in the code a couple years ago, I thought was cute, and this other thing you did was quite admirable and elegant.
Mm-hmm.
But this actually trying to reach out and tattle on our little game here.
Smug little bastard.
It's just that's one chance too many, Miss Proper. I'm sorry. Bangs Proper. That just sounds.
Having elements of his lair, his base, have tech that he has bought and taken from, like having like some sort of fusion battery from a failed space program from one country, and that he's been scavenging and improving upon the country's tech that he has bought.
Okay.
Just little. That's a production note, I guess. That's not essential to plot, but just showing just what his. Even when she's exposed, it's like, I paid you so well, but damn it, if there aren't still people who can't be bought.
Mm-hmm.
That he can acknowledge that there are people who can't be bought, and he says that again later when he's talking to some world leaders of
well, that's what this whole program is for, is to eliminate those.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Bond punchifies him. He just punches the heart out of his chest. Like I said, it just comes down to a fist fight, gunfight with this guy.
Probably, yeah.
I think if the big fight scene should be Bond versus the Muscle, because the Muscle is the true threat physically to Bond, and then we have Sin versus Bond is probably less exciting, physically exciting, a bit more like mental mind games. Like Bond, if he's like, how much, Bond? How much are you worth? I'll give you $10 trillion. 11. Like if he's just trying, and Bond is like, punch, slide across the ground. I'll do that. Bang, shoots him in the knee. I'll do it. Like if he's just begging and like,
don't you understand? If you kill me, no one gets anything.
Yeah. Letting this little wiener show his true colors. Because when push comes to shove about any of these super villains that we exist with, they're all little wet noodles.
Mm-hmm.
Like none of them are as buff as one of them wants to get, as many hair plugs as the other one wants to get, as much ultimate fighting as the other one wants. Like really, these guys are little wieners. Like, and having them sniveling and begging in the end to prove just how gross and awful they are, little wish fulfillment there, right?
Sure.
Does he kill him, or does he see justice? Right, like if he rips his heart out, he's gonna die. But like, what does Bond do in the end here? He kills his villains often, so it's not like out of the realm of Bond's wheelhouse to kill the villain.
Sure. I'm just trying to think of a cool way rather than just shut up.
Bang. Yeah, I think I could go either way. I would rather this villain be taken out here, let it be over and done with, and then that the denouement, the final scene of this is, well, now that we have this, who controls it? And then it's the British, being the pinnacle of liberty and justice, present it to the UN as a whole, or the United Nations as a whole, and say this device is connected to, and we all have control. Like, it's not under one person's control.
Would that be a thing, that presenting it to the UN? It wouldn't just be M saying, "We're going to bury this in a vault," like the Vatican.
Well, the Vatican will be the threat in the next movie.
There you go. Yeah.
I just trying to think of what is the most heroic way to end this. Bond kills the villain, and Britain proves themselves the best by something like this device.
Is it too anticlimactic if Bond is just pushing him around and like all that, and like to the point that he says, "Do it," because Bond knows that Proper's already delete, and like the guy is even with the gun at his head, he can't do it, and so Bond says, "I knew it," and takes him in. They put him in a cell.
The only reason I don't want to put him in a cell is because Blofeld in the cell was stupid, because then there's always the threat of this guy coming back. But at the same time, it is a bit more heroic to not murder the villain in the end. Like, lower yourself to those standards. I don't know. This is a tough line to walk, because what's the most fulfilling thing for a James Bond movie? To see the villain get his just desserts, typically at their own hand, rather than Bond actually killing them.
Would it actually feel cool at all to like do a thing where he's like, "There's nothing you can do, Bond, do this or that. I control all this stuff," and up on his big monitor, his bank accounts come up or whatever, and he just watches the money just start draining out.
What's happening?
Yeah.
No.
Ultimately revealing what Proper's been doing.
Yeah, that she's been transferring all the money equally around the world.
And then he tries to push the button to drain the others.
Like, he tries,
and it's not working.
And then he tries to kill himself, and that's not working.
And he's just been reduced. Like, literally, he's all of his resources have been taken, and to just let him be like, "I'm pathetic now.
I have nothing." I guess there's some things money can't buy.
And there's some things, all the money in the world. You got to say the title.
Is All the Money in the World? That's already a title of something.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a movie called All the Money in the World. That's from, I don't know, 2017. Oh, it's the one that Kevin Spacey was in that they erased.
They had to erase
him. And they put Christopher Plummer in it. They put Chris Plummer in his
Yeah.
place. And then Chris Plummer got nominated for an Oscar for it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's well, titles can be reused. But yeah, having him, I think that's fun, to have him like watch his bank account getting drained, and first he tries to destroy it all, and then he tries to kill himself, and he's just left there like with nothing, with zero. He's got nothing, and then Bond can either, I guess, not leave him there because he's still a threat in one way or another, but yeah, I think that's pretty. He could still beat the holy hell out of him. The real kill is the muscle, and then he just keeps punching and roughing up Sin until that climactic moment when he watches it all drain. I think while the building's burning down around him. So then he literally doesn't even have his island anymore. The island is like sinking.
Sure.
And then
is him? Well, no, because you said like he even tries to kill himself and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Does he die? Do we just leave him in despair on his burning, sinking island? Do we put him in prison? Does Bond and now that it's done, I snap your neck? Or
I don't like that. I don't think we do that. I think leaving him literally wait. Oh, we did it already. We already established this. There's one plane to the island, and we blew up the plane. And now, if we destroy all of his technology and leave him there burning in his building on an island that's not sinking,
sure,
he's just now, he has nothing. The technology, he's literally going to have to rebuild a freaking communicator to even get off that island. And they could,
And
M
okay,
could even
and
say
I guess
it's his prison. He's left on his own prison.
That's his own Elba.
Yeah.
I like that if we establish throughout it that he, like many of the technocrats, didn't actually make anything.
He didn't do it.
Just
exactly.
bought them.
Yes. He can't even build a communicator, like build a radio. I can't do that. I can't. He's never built a thing in his life. Hell yes. So his island is his prison.
Yeah.
That's cool. And then Bond takes the thing to M, and M decides what to do with it.
Sure.
M is now in control of all the money in the world.
Yep. And that M stands for money.
And Bond and Banks Proper go on a nice little trip together in the end, right?
Maybe. Sure.
It doesn't have to end with him on a life raft making out with her. Doesn't have to do that. Don't leave me hanging.
I'm trying to think. Wouldn't they have? They would have had sex earlier in the movie.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So then, she would have gone her own way. She'd be going back to her agency.
Yes. Yeah.
And Bond would be on to the next mission.
Yep. Yeah, and then there we go. Roll credits.
Yeah.
We could even go so far as getting him, if we want to do the Mission Impossible sort of ending, where he gets the beginning, he gets the message for his next mission. It's like, are you ready for your next mission? Of course I am. So even if M, after wrapping it all up, putting the folder to the side and be like, all right, well that does that. Well, Bond, before you go, I actually have your next mission. Are you ready? Of course I am. Hand it to him and then walks out the door with one final quip. Roll credits. Win an Oscar with the theme song.
All right, yeah.
Yes. James Bond, baby.
This is my world. You're just dying in it. I think that's a great Bond theme song title.
Yeah, great. Well, Mr. Jack Wade, Joe Don Baker Studios, how did we do, JDB? Oh my God, how did we do?
Well, then we didn't do the one thing. I think we needed to include Joe Don Baker somewhere in there.
Well, he doesn't play Felix, and he plays Jack in Tomorrow Never Dies. The American Felix isn't in the Pierce Brosnan. Joe Don Baker's not in this movie.
Okay.
But I think that's going to do this for this episode. But Jack, we'd love to know if we met your demand today. So you're going to have to let us know. And those listening, hit us up. Do you agree with what we did? Disagree? What did we miss? What is something that you would like to see added to All the Money in the World?
We didn't specify, like, I guess you kind of put a couple of them in there, but we didn't specify where the martini shaken not stirred happens. Mm-hmm. How or when he's in the tuxedo.
Oh, sure.
What gun he shoots if we stick with the classic. Same with the car.
When he goes to Washington, D.C., the first time he meets Sin, he goes to some gala and in D.C., there's the tux, there's the drink.
And Sin is actually there.
Yes.
Because he's like, I had to be in person for this one.
Yeah. He's wearing Chuck Taylors.
Sure.
So then that gives us the tuxedo and gives us the drink. And and that's where he could probably meet Bangs as well if she shows up ready to kill and he stops her.
Well, so our Bond girls. I'm not a big enough fan. I'm a terrible fan.
Go ahead.
That's my new mantra as of season 6. Jim is a terrible fan.
We have the I'm a terrible Star Wars fan T-shirt.
Yep.
Now we're gonna have a I'm a terrible James Bond fan T-shirt.
Are Bond girls always allies?
No, there's always so traditionally there's 2 Bond girls.
Okay.
There's a villain Bond girl and a one for him to seduce. Usually he turns the bad one. There's usually two women he gets to hook up with. One is the quick hookup and one's the pussy galore that he gets to hook up with. Xenia Onatopp in GoldenEye and then Natalia are the two. Natalia in GoldenEye. Terry Hatcher and Michelle Yeoh are the 2 in Tomorrow Never Dies. He doesn't get to hook up with Michelle Yeoh. He only hooks up with Terry Hatcher.
Okay.
Denise Richards and the 2 in World Is Not Enough. And yes, there's the woman on the horse and Vesper in Casino Royale. So on and so forth.
Then we're missing a second Bond girl.
A second Bond girl, yeah. Someone for him to hook up with at the gala. We're just putting it all there. Or maybe the United Nations. So Bond hooks up with 2 people in this movie. We'll leave it at that. I'll let you think about that. You can message us directly at StudioDemands.com or on Instagram. Look for the post for this episode at Studio Demands It. If you're not already, you can subscribe to us where you're listening to this right now. You're listening. Why aren't you subscribed? I suppose if you're listening on the website, that's an odd choice, but the likelihood is you're on iOS and you could just click little subscribe. And, if you want, you can do a review in your podcast app, and it helps us get the show out there into the algorithm. You can find us on YouTube and TikTok, where we post video content, including material not heard here on the show. Jim?
You can also join the conversation on Reddit at r/ I forget how this works. r/ Studio Demands It. That there over on Reddit. Yep.
Tubok wax on.
And then Discord, you can go to our website, StudioDemands.com, and there is a link with an invite to the Discord server where we also talk about movies and fun movie-related things. Good job, Jim.
There you go. If you want more, we have a Patreon, and for a couple bucks a month, you can get episodes early, commercial-free. We also have extended double-length episodes. The bonus conversation we had with this was we did a conversation about the death and return of Superman and its viability as a film in movies. That was redundant. As a movie film.
Movie film.
We also do commentary tracks. For this month, we did a commentary track for Mission Impossible 2, if you'd like to hear us talk through that. And you can also show us some love by subscribing for free. A massive thank you to 6.5 Media for everything they do for us. Please check out the other 6.5 shows. And thank you to all of you listening. Jim, any thoughts over there? Any final thoughts?
No, I'm trying to find the proper place to put a second woman, a second Bond girl.
Okay.
But Bangs Proper has taken up the role of both of them in this.
The flight attendant in the plane.
Yeah, but that's
a brief encounter.
Yeah, that's just a briefing. That's not a real Bond girl situation.
He could just flirt with a whole hell of a lot of women in this. Like the cafe at the cold opening, he can do a little flirting there.
Sure.
Moneypenny could be right, but he could have a flirtation with Moneypenny before he goes into M's office.
But that's just flirtation. That's not seduction.
Okay. Well, I'm going to leave Jim struggling with that. That's it for this episode. We'll be back again soon with another one of your demands to challenge ourselves to, improve
the world of cinema.
I'm TC.
I am Repeater.
Is this clashing?
This
is clashing
with. I was trying to do the.
I know, but this is clashing with the actual outro music, and that probably didn't. Oh. It didn't blend well.
That's okay.
All right.
It blends as well as this does.